RuneScape has changed much in the 20 years since its initial release. Many of us long for that magical experience it provided when we first started playing. My quest is to recreate that experience by playing a time-locked Ironman. In order to progress forward in time, I'll have to experience all of the content as it is released on a month-to-month basis. My name is Kuda Bear, and welcome to Time Traveller Ironman. March of 2001 was a different time in RuneScape's history. One of the game's core mechanics has always been to consume food and restore hit points lost in combat. Nowadays, we usually use various forms of fish as they are easy to obtain and very effective. However, as of March 2001, there was no fishing skill. The only easy food to obtain was chicken or kebabs, and the best food was wine if you didn't mind your attack being lowered. Then, in March 2001, one of the first major skill expansions hit RuneScape, the Cooking expansion. This included RuneScape's second guild, the Cooking Guild, as well as 3 tiers of pie, the highest of which healed a massive 14 hit points per slot. This month, I'll need to obtain access to both this guild and this new delicious food item. That wasn't the only thing that happened though. 2 new quests were released in February as well. These are Prince Ali Rescue and Imp Catcher, which rewarded the new best-in-slot Amulet, the Amulet of Accuracy. I'll need to complete both quests and obtain the Amulet to progress. As for monsters, a new highest level mob was released, the Moss Giant. This dropped a new best-in-slot shield obtained other than from smithing, the Black Square Shield. I'll need to slay these until I obtain one. Also, Limport Roots were released as drops from Hill Giants, which when brought to the Apothecary in Varrock along with red spider's eggs from the Varrock sewers, allows me to obtain a Strength Potion, the first stat boosting potion that existed within RuneScape. Finally, in February, the Champions Guild was released. This prestigious guild was available to anyone who completed all of the quests at the time. Within it was a shop that sells the Adamant Plate Body, a new armor upgrade for the account. I'll have to earn the whopping 20k GP required to purchase that. Oh, and you may be wondering, why are we in March and not February on its own? Well, many months in RuneScape saw a lull in new content, and I'll be combining those months where it makes sense. This was one such occasion. Alright, are you ready? Let's go ahead and jump into March 2001. So, welcome to the beginning of March 2001. I feel like the beginning of months is always going to be super exciting because there's going to be so much to choose from and do, and I'll have to pick something I want to prioritize. I think just like in January, I'm going to kick it off by doing the new quests. I don't need any stat requirements for them, so I don't really see a reason why to hold off on doing them. The first thing I want to do is complete Imp Catcher actually, so I can get the Amulet of Accuracy. However, I was thinking about how I want to kill the imps, and because I'm locked into walking, I don't really want to use melee, as they're going to teleport away and I'm going to have to walk to them, which is going to take ages. So instead, I actually want to use magic. I was taking another look at the good and evil magic guides on the Ars Classic wiki, and it turns out that a level 2 magic spell was something that was available. There was a level 1 bolt and a level 2 bolt. I'm going to interpret that as being about equivalent to Water Strike, so I'm going to allow myself to be able to use Water Strike this month. However, there's still a problem with this plan. Magic costs money, and I've only got 1,000 coins. So I'm going to go ahead and begin this episode by doing a bit more mining and earning a little bit more money so I can afford some runes to kill the imps. So I will admit I am using my power of foresight a little bit here to know that a massive magic update is coming in just a couple months. So I'm going to go ahead and prioritize magic a little bit more than I probably would because it's not all that useful right now. But I will have a massive grind in a little bit if I don't. A little bit of a minor thing here, but I'm actually going to sell the Adamant Sword again, and I'll buy it back later. It cost me about 800 coins to do that, but I think the inventory space is worth it, especially considering I'm planning to train magic for a little while. There's 34 smithing, which is a very notable level because it unlocks steel swords. As I mentioned in the last episode, steel swords are worth almost 200 GP each at the sword shop, so I'm going to be swapping over to making steel. So thanks to the combat grind at the end of last episode, I'm actually high enough combat that the scorpions no longer bother me at the Alclarad Mine. So I'm going to go ahead and use this location to get my steel bar ingredients. It's a little closer to the furnace. I'll still have to smith in Varrock, of course. The alternative would be to go all the way to Barbarian Village, which I think would be longer than this anyway. So I went ahead and got my first 9 bars, but I'm actually going to come right back to the mine and get 6 more, I feel like because the walk between the mine and the furnace is so short, it's definitely worth me getting 50% less bars on the second trip to the mine before trekking all the way back to Varrock. Look at this guy. He's having as much fun as I am. He could actually be stuck within the same month I am as well. All that is gear that was released now. Man, what a humble interaction. I said, how goes your quest fellow adventure? He says, I'm doing good. How about you? I said, I must go to Varrock to craft and sell my goods. He said, good luck. I'll probably be here. Alright, first inventory of steel swords. 195 coins each. Go ahead and sell 5. Drops down to 162. So as I said in the last episode, there were really only 2 worlds available at the launch of Runescape. So I will only be hopping between 2 worlds to sell my goods. So I'll sell half here and then half in another world to maximize the gold. There we go. That was almost 3k from one trip. Oh, that's great. Alright, here we are back again. I went a little overboard and got some extra money. Reason being, the adamant plate body is actually released into a shop into the Champions Guild this month, so I'll need to buy that later when I can access the Champions Guild. So I figured I was kind of in the mood for it. I would just go ahead and knock all the cash I needed for this episode in one go. So this will give me about 10,000 for magic training as well as the 21,000 I need for the adamant plate body. So just going to go ahead and buy a Staff of Air here. The Staff of Air did actually exist from the very first month, so I could have had that last month if I thought it was necessary. So I'm actually so used to playing regular Ironman, and typically you'd go for a fire staff and air runes, that I forgot I can only stop at water strike. And I probably should have bought water runes and kept the air staff. But no big deal, I'll go sell the air staff and buy a water staff instead. Alright, swapping out the Staff of Air for the Staff of Water instead. That should be fine. I don't mind wasting a few air runes to cast air strike in the beginning. Alright, just went ahead and knocked out 5 magic here at the chickens rather than chasing around the imps with one strike, so go ahead and start Imp Catcher now. So Imp Catcher is a bit of an interesting quest. It was RuneScape's first and really only quest that was basically, hey, go kill a certain number of mobs until you get a certain number of drops, turn them in and get your reward, which is a pretty standard MMORPG quest type, but RuneScape really only just did the one. The interesting part is you don't even have to start the quest in order to start getting the beads required for it as drops. You just have to find imps and kill them. The other tricky part is the imps can basically be anywhere. They can roam really far. And the 2 main areas you typically try to complete this quest, the Karamja Volcano and just outside the Falador Gates, are not accessible to me. So I really don't know where to go to find imps. So I actually found out, oh, I teleported over to the monastery. Look at that, an upgrade for my magic. Best in slot. Well, it's not amazing, but I think the best I'm going to get for killing imps is actually just camping one spawn here. All of the multiple spawns I either don't have access to or are on the edge of the map, so the imps just keep teleporting outside the map, which really doesn't help my case. It'll be slow, but at least it'll be consistent here. It just popped in. Alright, there's the first bead, the black bead. The very next kill is a yellow bead. And yes, you can get duplicate beads. So there's 2 yellow beads. There's the white bead. This is going pretty well. And there is the final bead, the red bead. That really wasn't too bad. This is one of the better Imp Catcher grinds I've ever done. Now, typically you would have gotten the quests before killing the imps for the actual beads, but because you don't actually need to start it to get them as drops, you can actually just bring them directly to the guy who starts and finishes the quest in one go. So that is a nice little way to speed things up a little bit. It's a pretty basic quest though, so there's really not too much to it. And there we go, quest complete. Some good magic experience. And the Amulet of Accuracy, which is by far the best amulet I will have for a good little bit here. It only provides accuracy bonuses, but it provides accuracy bonuses across all styles. And from that little grind, all the way up to 19 magic already, so that's wonderful. So next up is actually Prince Ali Rescue, but before we can start that, we have to do a little bit of shopping. This quest is one of the first ones that has a pretty extensive items requirement list, so let's go ahead and get all that stuff. First, we need to get some yellow dye from Eggy, just by giving her some onions and 5 coins. Then we need to buy some rope from Ned. Actually, this quest is why Ned was originally added, just to sell rope for it. It's kind of interesting. A pot of flour from here at the windmill. Need 3 bowls of wool for this quest. Some soft clay. A pink skirt. 3 beers. Back at the imps to get some ashes. And finally, 1 bronze bar. This entire setup is all of the stuff I need for this quest. So Prince Ali Rescue is a quest with a plot pretty much what you would expect based on the name. The plot basically is that the Crown Prince of Alcarid was kidnapped by some bandits, I guess, out in Draenor Village, and we have to go rescue him. And how we're going to go ahead and do that is basically become spies. Yeah, spy kind of quest. We're going to infiltrate their ranks, get the information we need, get the prince out of there, and get back here for a reward. We go to Draenor to meet with Osmond's agent Leela, who gives us some crucial information about the leader of the bandits, Lady Kalai. Basically, what we're going to need to do is get a disguise to help the prince look like her so that he can safely escape from the prison that he's being held in. One of the first things we do is talk to Mr. Ned here, who is actually a pretty good craftsman with wool, and he will create a wig for us out of balls of wool. So both the rope and the wig here from Ned. And right next door, Eggy, who helped us make the dye, can also help us make some skin paste, since the princess skin is much darker than Lady Kalai's. And then the last thing we need to do is use the yellow dye on the wig to make it blonde. And we have our disguise for the prince. Thankfully it's not too hard to get into the jail here, just kind of need to walk in the front door. The guards will give us a little bit of trouble, but honestly not too much. All we need to do is stand on Lady Kalai a little bit to get her to show us the key, and we can make an imprint of it using the soft clay. She for some reason lets me touch the key because I'm such a good stan. And now I have an imprint of the key that I can use to cast a copy using this bronze bar, so back to Alcarid to do that. Osmond will take the bronze bar in the mold and cast the key for me, and now I can go ahead and proceed and free the prince. So before we can actually get into the cell to get the prince out of here, we need to restrain Lady Kalai, and in order to do that we need to disable her guard here, which of course we do through the power of beer. So just like that, the guard is drunk, not a problem anymore. We can go ahead and tie up Lady Kalai, and just like that we return back to the Alcarid Palace victorious. The prince is home and safe. We get 700 coins for use of the Alcarid Toll Gate, which is pretty nice at this point. I feel like that's going to add up, and 3 quest points. And that completes Prince Ali Rescue, and both of the quests that were released in either February or March of 2001. We're up to 23 quest points, and excitingly, that means that we get to go ahead and explore the Champions Guild. Here we are, the Champions Guild. Really excited to get a chance to explore this place, and more importantly, have access to the shop that sells the adamant plate body, which it was added in this month as well. Let's go ahead and enter. What? So yeah, way back when RuneScape was released, we had influence instead of quest points, and the way influence worked was you would only get influence points for completing certain quests, and then the Champions Guild would require you to have maximum influence for that given time, effectively requiring a quest cape to get into. When the influence system was changed to the quest point system later in this year, they went ahead and locked the Champions Guild at a 32 quest point requirement. So unfortunately, with all of the quests released as of this month, I will not be able to access the Champions Guild. Now normally this would fall under my exception where an older piece of content is locked behind a newer piece of content, and I would be able to do the required content to gain access. However, this is a special exception because it is quest points. I would have to complete quests that were released further on, and a decent number of them that would benefit my account in ways that I really shouldn't be able to have. So the only downside of not being able to access the Champions Guild this month is I won't be able to purchase that adamant plate body. So instead of doing the quests and gaining access to it now, I'll just wait until I get 32 quest points naturally, and instead bank the money for that plate body as though I would have bought it now. So here I am accessing the bank for the first time. Again, the bank existed, but only at this location and only for storing coins. So I'm going to go ahead and drop in the required coins for purchasing that adamant plate body. That's going to be 21,632 coins. I'll just add the extra little bonus coins in there. 26 coins or whatever I had in there. And I will be saving that for later. So that does conclude the questing journey for this month. However, we're not quite done. There was a whole new area of the Varrock sewers added, as well as the Cook's Guild. So there's 2 things for me left to do. I've got to slay a Moss Giant and also enter the Cook's Guild. I'm going to start with the Moss Giant as I want to use up these runes anyway. I don't think I really showed this side of the Varrock sewers last time. I don't think I really even showed the sewers at all. It's not that interesting over here though, just some basic mobs. Near the end here, however, is a web you can slash to gain access to. The new part of it was just that what was just added with this update. And I bought a bronze dagger to do so because I didn't have any slash weapons. And in the back here there are deadly red spiders, moss giants, and red spider's eggs, which when combined with a limpet root at the apothecary, gives you access to a strength potion. Alright, there's the first moss giant kill. So I will probably only be here as long as I have runes. And also, of course, I need the black square shield, which is an upgrade for this month. This guy over here is using a dragon hatchet as a primary training weapon here at the moss giants. I guess assuming because they're part plant, it's effective? I love the people you see in these early game areas. You don't normally get to experience that very often. There it is, nice and easy, the black square shield. So I'm definitely not going to camp here any longer. I'll just finish up my last little bit of runes here. There's no real reason for me to kill these. Obviously the bones are a big problem, and the drops aren't that good. This is all I've got so far to sell. So I'm just kind of blowing through my runes here. The experience is nice though, up to 27 magic, should be like 28 by the time I'm done. I'm going to go ahead and sell back my staff since I don't need it anymore. And then we'll repurchase the adamant sword since I need it again. Now back to the chickens. I need 32 cooking to access the cooking guild, so that'll be the next goal. Hey, it's me from the future. So unfortunately the next couple of clips the video was turned off on, so I didn't actually get any video. However, the only thing you'll be missing is me achieving 32 cooking, as well as me getting a chef's hat and entering the chef's guild for the first time to start cooking some apple pies. Okay, back to the clips. There's actually someone else here who is making pies, it looks like. They didn't reply, so it might be a bot, but interesting that this is botted at the very minimum. There we go, 35 cooking. Really not a bad method. It's still really slow, but I think it's faster than killing chickens. Plus I actually get some usable food out of it. So I might actually do this at some point in the future. There we go, a couple pies for me to take with. And then I can also add these grapes to this wine and wait 12 seconds for it to ferment. And it's bad. Attempt number 2. Yay! Wine. 200 experience. Probably not something I'll be taking advantage of for a long time, as grapes are actually really hard to come by. So this does conclude our time at the cooking guild and get to move on to the last thing for the month, which is getting a couple limpet roots to go with these spider eggs and get some strength potions. Right, there's that limpet root. I realized I don't really have a reason to get 2. I guess I just thought it would be useful to have an extra, but I'm not really going to be doing any major combat training soon, so... And without a bank, that potion is just going to go on the ground anyway. Alright, my friend the apothecary, I need a strength potion. I believe it brings up... Yeah, there's a nice little interface here. It wasn't here back in the day, you would do it all through chat interfaces, but here we go. A strength potion 4. If I were to drink it, it brings my strength level all the way up to 36, which is pretty nice. I probably will go out of my way to get these in the future when I'm doing any major melee training. Oh, and that little bit of grinding also got me up to 30 strength, so now I am rounded at 30 melees, which is really great. So that was actually the last thing for the month of March. So of course we have to go and check about how long have we been here since we started to get a feel for how long this month took us to complete. And it looks like it's about 35 hours, so about 5 hours less to complete February and March than January, which makes sense. There was definitely less content in those months than the first month. Here we are, the end of March 2001. This month we saw some pretty good progress, including some more mining and smithing gains in order to gain the money for the adamant plate body, which I will buy as soon as I can, as well as completing 2 additional quests, the Prince Ali Rescue, as well as Imp Catcher, which gave the best in slot Amulet of Accuracy for a good while here, so that's really good to have. Also got access to the Cooking Guild, but now my friends, we get to move into April. And April has one of the biggest updates so far. We get to say goodbye to the city of Varrock with these dusty old banners, and we get to say hello to something a little bit new in the great white city of Falador.